You're listening to part 2 of our Krull Movie Watch Live with me, Pete Mack, and my guests Carl Hungus and Aldous Huxley. They're trying to reinvent the wheel in a way, but nevertheless, it's something about the way it was made still worked, and it remains a very well followed film, very much admired by its cult following.
Yeah, they don't have to make Citizen Kane here. They just got to make something entertaining, and so far, it's doing its job.
It does, yeah. Despite all the difficulties, it's actually an entertaining movie. So, Yanir has told Colwyn here, you're not allowed to use that weapon. It's basically an all-powerful weapon, but you're not allowed to use it yet.
Right. It's an impractical weapon. It's just not practical.
Well, it's a magical throwing disc that has blades pop out. So
yeah,
and it's a boomerang as well.
When it's going out the window.
So it's a boomerang throwing star that comes back, and it doesn't cut your fingers off when you catch it again.
Right. That's right.
So I'm now at the scene where they've reached the forest, and you're about to see the first of the, well, apart from the old man, and another character coming along.
They look like they're going to have a moment there for a second. Yeah.
So this character is just appearing now.
He's trying to be funny. Is he there, Jar Jar?
It's the comic relief. So this is David Batley. He's a really good performer. His speciality was like sarcastic, sort of satirical characters.
And his role does actually work in this as comedic relief. He plays kind of just an off-center character, and it fits. It doesn't seem forced entirely. It's not shoehorned in. It works for the character.
Yeah, I've seen loads of fantasy films where they say, "Hey, we need a comic relief wizard. Let's get an English actor," and it's always a real disaster. But in this instance, this actor here, David Batley, does a really good job. He hits the nail right on the head with this. I do want to get his recipe for hot fudge toast, I must admit.
That does sound good. So he's a magician, huh?
Yeah. There's a good line coming up here. Listen to what he says.
Yeah, it's good.
What I could have done if I were a vengeful man.
Yeah.
So the special effects there where he's doing the morphing, that was just frame morphing. They really didn't have the budget. They didn't have the budget at the time or what they wanted to do. So they just kind of used the old frame morph, multiple shot technique. Mm-hmm. It turns out pretty good for the final product. It's not bad by any means.
When you think about later films like Willow and the morphing sequences they had, in that short space of time, how far the special effects had came.
Well, they spared no expense on the special effect guys either. You've got, Meddings and Maley.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, there was one gentleman from Harryhausen's troupe that actually came over. It was his primary understudy that worked on this. So,
yeah, that's another thing. The yet another genre it was trying to bring in was the genre of we've just seen the Cyclops there, played by Bernard Breslow. The genre of Clash of the Titans, which was also out in that era. So you see, by this time, 83, you had the well-established genre of Star Wars. You had Clash of the Titans. You had the Superman franchise. There was a lot of competition. It was heavy-hitting competition in the early 80s. So this film faced stiff competition at the time. So now we see the castle's ability to teleport and change its position every day. Now, I picked up on it and thought, well, that's possibly yet another genre, Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
Like the TARDIS. Yeah. So this film contains elements of lots of different science fiction and fantasy genres.
There's a nice shot right there. Back to the soundstage.
Yes. Now here we have the scene where the heroes come up against more potential recruits.
You see him fucking with his shoe right there?
Yeah.
So I've actually kind of like worn shoes like that at reenactments and shit, and that may have been improvised, not necessarily improvised, but like the consequences of actually walking those fucking things.
Yeah.
I will give it this. If you look on his shoulder, you can see where he was hit. There's consistency in costuming throughout this, which is good to see.
That it allows us to suspend a little bit of disbelief on this. That's good. Oh, here we go. There's Qui-Gon.
Yep. So again, you're seeing actors who ironically went on to greater things, whereas the lead in this movie didn't really go on to very much for at least the next 4 years. So in Britain, there's at least 3 actors here which are famous. Obviously, you've got Liam Neeson, but you've also got Robbie Coltrane, and here you've got Alan Armstrong.
Oh, wow.
Who was the leader of the bandit gang. Now, Alan Armstrong's doing stuff even today.
Robbie Coltrane looks like El Chapo.
Yeah.
Like El Chapo's Mongoloid brother.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I'm sure he's... there we go. So Alan Armstrong's actually in something really recent. He's on a TV series called Frontier, which is on Netflix right now.
Alan Armstrong today looks like the lead singer from Dexy's Midnight Runners.
Yeah, that's the effect that goes.
Okay, so he was also in Braveheart. He was, I remember him from Braveheart.
Yeah, he was one of the Scottish lords, I believe.
Right.
Yeah. He's been in a lot of stuff.
Dexy's Midnight Runners. I'm not gonna lie, he really does.
Now, I do think this whole segment here with the brigands and runaway thieves, escaped prisoners, is probably some of the best dialogue in the movie. And I don't know if it's the actors delivering it or if it was actually just
it is.
better written than the rest of it. But
look how young Liam looks. Look how young he looks, man.
Yeah.
Well, this continues our theme of every other week. Liam Neeson will be in a movie we're watching.
He's younger than he did in Excalibur, and this is 2 years after.
Yeah, he got himself in these movies early on to establish his name. But the performances here from Alan and from Liam are really good. And you're now in a new it's hit a new dimension, the film, whereby, you start to get into it more. This scene is, you get more invested in the characters. You won't know, but there's a young lad standing on the rock there who was really famous in Britain at the time. We had a kids' TV show drama called Grange Hill. You won't know anything about it, but he was like a teenage heartthrob of the day.
That kid right there,
yeah,
he needs to pluck his eyebrows. He's got the unibrow going. No, seriously.
Yeah.
Well, this is the other part that's kind of tragic about this. You've got all these great classically trained British actors that have gone on and have had, even up to this point, a good career. You've got Freddie Jones, who just exudes gravitas.
Mm-hmm.
And you got Ken Marshall that's trying to deal with this clunky dialogue in a lot of sequences and script. And it doesn't do him any favors. And kind of like we were talking last week, and this is kind of a growing theme in these, Peter McNichol was kind of savaged in Dragon Slayer 2 for his acting, and it wasn't so much his acting as it was the script. And here again, we're seeing it replayed with a young up-and-comer whose career is unfortunately railroaded by really just tragic writing.
It's too bad and all that, but I wouldn't feel too bad for him. I mean, for like 2 years after this, he was probably slaying it every weekend. So I too bad, too much for him. Look how thin Robbie is right there. It's looking good, except for that cute haircut.
Do you know as well? They even dubbed over his voice in points as well. They used, I mean, that's his voice there, but at times they even dubbed over his voice with another famous British actor from London. I forget now, but Michael Elphick, that was it. So it's like the producers just didn't care about the actors, and the actors are trying to do their best job to make it believable.
I mean, you work with what you're given, right? So
yeah.
Look behind you, buddy.
There's a random slayer who's just, taking a walk in the countryside.
And there's our Cyclops, buddy. I want to take a look at the spear. I want to see what thing looks up.
A 3-bladed throwing spear.
That's pretty awkward. That's not too aerodynamic. I wouldn't do that. That wouldn't be my thing. But check out Liam Neeson's axe. That's pretty cool. That's almost like a Danish axe from the 9 to 1000s era. Real long haft on it.
I suppose as well, because, their performance is really good. I think as far as their career, people who were watching their performance thought, wow, these actors are that good. They can take this script and actually still do really well. I think I'll give them the job. So probably this film, ironically, probably helped to launch Liam's career, further than it was.
Yeah, he was basically a character actor up until a certain point. God, I can't remember what his first, maybe Darkman or something, 1989 was like.
I remember going to see that. Yeah, that was a really good film.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a lot better than it was when I was a little kid.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit over my head.
So now you're hearing about the story of the Cyclops. So, Aldous, what do you think about the idea of the Cyclops and losing an eye, but being able to tell the future, but only seeing the point of their death?
I think it harkens back to the theme of the eye, the motif of the eye that is going to continue throughout it. Also, we're like you were talking about with the possibility of what does the beast gain? He stole their eye, and then tricked them. What does he get in exchange for that? Well, he gets their eye, but what else? What else is he gaining from that equation? And then how often does this happen? Does this happen on every world?
Yep.
Yeah, but if I'm going to lose an eye, I want to see the future and only be able to see my death. That's the shittiest deal ever.
Well, that was what they were conned into. So they've they've done a deal with the devil and ended up on the wrong side of the deal.
There you
so
go.
We're getting to the point now with the Emerald Seer.
So that kind of deal with the devil thing can be kind of taken back to the whole relationship with Vader and the Emperor.
Yes.
Right.
Now, what are you seeing here, Cole? Are you seeing a green light?
Yeah.
What does that remind you of? What other film has a green light?
Yeah. Excalibur.
Yeah.
Green light everywhere. So connection to the earth, connection to the spirit of the planet you're on, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, I just hit 42 minutes of my timestamp too, just for anybody watching.
Right, I'm about 8 seconds behind, so I'll just catch up. There you are. So I'm at the point where they've just gone through the cave. Now, the actor here, who plays the Emerald Seer, John Welsh, I said they were all English actors, with the exception of Colwyn. John Welsh is actually Irish. From Wexford in Ireland, where all the actually it's a fantastic part of Ireland, Wexford.
Yeah, southeastern tip.
Yeah.
When I went there in 2004, that's one of the places we did not go to.
Yeah,
but I would love to have. There was a Viking settlement. Wexford was.
That's right.
Wexford, a Viking city, or a town.
Yeah. So we're now at the point where, and for me, there's a sort of a similarity between this cave and the pot cooking on the fire with Yoda's cave in Empire Strikes Back.
No doubt, no doubt.
And now again, this is just another step in the hero's journey. He's building his party.
Mm-hmm.
He's growing in his leadership qualities. Now men are following him.
Mm.
He's gathering the forces that he needs to fight the evil.
Mm.
I like the color of his cloak. That's nice.
Yeah,
it really stands out against everything else because they're all dressed kind of drab and kind of like in blacks and grays and browns, and everything behind him is brown with a little bit of light on it. It really stands out. Really good shot.
Yeah, the photography in this scene with the way the light's coming down and the detail they've put in. See, this is the other thread in this movie, that the set design, there was a lot of hard work when the set design, this cave and all the little things hanging there, the food on the go and everything. It's really
a lot
done.
of details.
This is a good bit with Urgo, the dialogue here. This is the way he says it as well.
What kind of boy are you? Boys always have candy.
I love this.
Poor kid, he got a goofy haircut, and this guy took more than half his candy from him.
Yeah, I like the way he says. He says, "I'm Titch," and he goes, "That's not impressive, but adequate." I love that. These little touches from the actors. So.
That's that dry British humor. I love it.
So I'm at the bit where the Emerald Seer's trying to find out the location of the castle, and the Emerald Stone spinning around. Again, the blue screen on there, Aldous, isn't great, is it? But
no, and I'm not actually sure if this is blue screen or if this is like a cell animation. It looks like a little bit of blue screen. But the blue screen in this whole movie is very disappointing. As it goes on, you'll continually see that, and it's unfortunate because it's contrasted with some excellent cinematic special effects that are just phenomenal, and some good stop motion.
Yeah, we'll see that later on.
Well, even the stuff caught by the second unit, the secondary unit catching all just the panoramic shots and stuff. Those are incredible.
Yeah, the location shooting as well earlier was fantastic. I mean, the scenery was very dramatic.
So he's going to wear. What that guy? Never mind. He's going to wear chainmail on his shoulders, but not over his abdomen. That's one way to do it. Is he blind or something? Why is he all squishy?
Yes, the Emerald Seer is blind.
Oh, okay.
Then the boy Titch is kind of his assistant, replacement, and guide, all wrapped into one.
Right, his seeing eye dog.
Right, he is the Galen to the to go back to Dragon Slayer.
Yeah,
very nice analogy. Well
so
done.
The same sort of themes revisited again. So this is a swamp. They used the biggest soundstage available in the time, which was the 007 soundstage in England. So this swamp, interestingly, they did such a good job with the way they made it that the crew and the actors would often fall into the quicksand areas there without realizing where they were. There was somebody took a tally of it. It was something like between 70 to 100 times it happened or something like that. So it was a common occurrence. But I think they did a good job with this. You think about the amount of money that went into making. I mean, I can't remember exactly how much was spent on the production of the film. Do you know, Aldous? Or
no, not off the top of my head. I mean, I know we mentioned it briefly.
Yeah.
Robbie Coltrane's the only one of these three guys that has a sensible weapon.
The spear.
The spear.
Yeah.
It's a practical, normal design. Doesn't have any weird, odd spikes. Doesn't look like it weighs 15 pounds.
Yeah.
That's what I would choose.
Yeah, the budget for this in the early '80s was $30 million, and that was just to make it. That's not the promotion. And part of that, I'm sure, didn't help the fact that Peter Yates, the director, hated making this so much that he took a 2-week vacation in the middle of making it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we got the point where the Slayers have just started to appear.
Yep, there they are. I'm sure the studio was happy about him taking that vacation too.
Now, when you think Return of the
Rise up
Jedi,
out of the water.
yeah, that was a nice shot. That I remember. That's one of the things I remember about this film, the way they get attacked this way. Return of the Jedi was $32.5 million US in the same year. So
Wow.
this is only $2 million less than production cost than Return of the Jedi, and it bombed. So think about how much money they lost.
Well, it still lost less money than Solo.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
There he goes with that triple trident spear.
Yeah, and there's the alien reference again. Now, at this point, they back off. I don't know why. And why aren't they using their lasers?
Well, they did. They
They
fired
all
their
went
volley of the laser spears in,
Yeah.
and now they're disengaging after one dies. They're very poorly led.
Ooh, look, all right, look at it. He's doing a little saber and dagger, not saber and dagger, sword and dagger right there.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. That's good stuff.
So we're getting a lot of close-ups of the suits here. And
You can kind of see it's just basically like a black suit with some armor plating kind of on the front and the back, and then a fairly intricate helmet and shoulder design, and that's about it.
It almost looks like it put some plates over a wetsuit or something, you know?
And what was it Maley said about them? He was disappointed because he didn't want to have just.
You didn't want to have the guy in the rubber suit look.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. They ended up being guys in rubber suits.
Pretty much.
What do you think of the sword that Colin's got, Cole?
Let me get a good close up of it. There he goes. He just grabbed it. It's cool. I don't know about the slit down the middle. I think that's not probably good because you have it's pretty weak. It's not solid to absorb as much of the blow. It would be one thing to have. He has grooves in it. They call those grooves fullers, and those are to lighten the blade and all that. Which is you want that, but you don't want gaps in your blade like that. Yeah. Especially if you're going to be doing what he's doing, blocking heavy sword blows and axe blows and stuff. You don't want that.
Aldous, we're seeing the Cyclops there close up for the first time. What can you tell us about the special effects for the Cyclops?
I took minimal notes on it, but it was a series of prosthetics. The actor could only see out of one eye the way the prosthetics were rigged up, and I think there was I can't remember the number, but the whole eye is being remote controlled. The eyelid is being remote controlled. The folds of the skin and how they react are being remote controlled through valve systems. Yeah. So there's a lot that went into that little bit on his face that really, if you pay attention, it's not used much.
Yeah.
So again, they've got this fine focus on detail that's just not executed properly or well.
Yeah.
I don't know how you put a Cyclops face on a human, considering our bone structure constitutes we have two eyeballs, but the way they did it, his brow line looks like a clitoris.
Right. I was thinking as well. It's for all the money they spent on it. It's and all the effort they put into it. It's just not convincing.
Why did I say that? I can't stop seeing it now.
Well, you didn't notice the cleft in the cliff earlier, Carl.
Yeah, and then he's got
that was deliberately done. The cleft in the cliff. This is the Nestle white chocolate moment.
Yeah.
The advert from the 80s. But I mean, the whole of the interior of the castle, I do like this design because it's Salvador Dali. Somebody liked Salvador Dali, says, right, this is how we're going to design it. And so
it's very organic too.
Yes, exactly. And of course,
or something.
Yeah, Lisette Anthony. You can see why she was used for pop videos. And this sequence here is almost like they're just saying, right, let's just do a pop video.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, there's the closing buttocks wall there. And then we get a close-up of the beast.
And here we are again, we're focusing in on an eye.
Yeah.
So we're seeing that eye theme continue.
Yeah.
A single eye. Maybe that's the eye he took from the Cyclopses.
Right, so here's the quicksand scene.
It's a very never-ending story right here, although that was the year afterwards.
Oh yeah, and there's the horses towards the end of the film are also reminiscent of the Luck Dragon from Neverending Story. So I think the producers are trying to put in as many different favorite scenes or favorite monsters and elements from lots of different films.
To be fair to them on that one, the Neverending Story came out in '84, so
yeah, that's true.
This old guy's just off in the woods, all out of it, no idea what's going on.
And there's a stripy soy pants again.
Yep, stripy soy pants. Looks like they just threw a bunch of sawdust over water.
That's it. Yeah, that's what it looks like. I think it was like greenish water and just loads and loads of sawdust.
Yeah, it looked like they raided a lumber mill.
So that was why there was a shortage of sawdust in 1983 in the Kent area.
That's exactly it right there. Here, throw us the bag. Don't give us your hand.
Yeah.
Duty unto death right here. He threw them the bag.
Yeah. And this is where you hopefully you can pull him out. You're rooting for him. This is the hero trying his best to save other people.
It'd be more poignant if it was one of the other characters that we actually gave a shit about, though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it is a little disappointing, but now that he's down, I'm gonna grab the bag anyway. So
yep, no, fuck it. At least small victories, right? Yeah, he's gone. Fuck it.
Now here we have the Changeling. Now I think this is quite well done. I don't know how it's got to be split screen, I'm assuming at this point. And so you can see the power that the beast has. He can cause the slayers to appear. You can cause the earth to try and swallow people up. You can send these changelings in. And so you wonder, how would they ever defeat? How would they ever defeat him?
It's formidable opponent. This is the freakiest looking old dude I've ever seen in my life.
That choking scene there, it just always freaks me out.
He's got pointy ears. He's super frail looking.
Yeah, that scene with the hand always makes me think of John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh yeah.
As well as that, I think there was alien things that come out of the Slayers with the tentacles flaying around. That reminds me of The Thing as well.
Come on, old man, move it.
And this is the almost gotcha moment. And then when Alan Armstrong comes along, and so the change is going, don't! Almost had you there. And that's the freaky black eyes.
Yep. That's the scariest part of all them black eyes.
But again, I think this scene is overly long. This whole scene in the swamp.
The endless trek through the swamp.
Yeah. I mean, again, it points to the writing and the producing. And I'm thinking,
and the direction.
Yes.
And the editing. And that's kind of the point, is like, if at any point the studio could have stepped in and gone, I mean, if this is what they wanted, because they could have put a stop to it, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
this is evidently their epic that they wanted to pay all that money for.